Hello, and welcome back to another episode of NOTaRS. So, we got a lovely bit of maintenance today. So, this is the first service that we've actually conducted on the car. It's actually my girlfriend's car. So, we're going to do a air filter, oil filter, and an oil change. And we'll just see how it goes. You know what it's like when we did this one. Obviously, the sump plug was rounded off. So, it's a bit of an unknown. We have no idea what we're going into. But, going to bring you along for the ride. And hopefully, you guys can do it on your car. So, it's a Renault Clio 2008, so I think that's a Mark III. So, yeah, let's get to it.
First port of call is to jack up your car. So we need to get the under tray off, so we want to unbolt that bolt, that one, and also this one, however, is pulled through, so we don't actually need to undo that one, and obviously the one on the other side. But once I'd undone all of those, I realised you also need to unbolt that one and that one. And finally that one and the one that's pulled through if yours hasn't pulled through. So once you've identified the 55 bolts that need to come off to get the under tray off, just nip them off and we can get started. So this doesn't have a standard sump plug, it has a 8mm square bore sump plug, so make sure you buy the tool because I've tried to do it without the tool and it is awful. So this is the location of the sump plug, and as you can see, the square bore 8mm fits perfect. So with all that said and done, now we just need to crack off the sump plug and drain the oil. Once you've managed to get the sump plug off, go up to the top of the car and take off the oil cap because that will help it drain faster.
A few minutes later.
So whilst waiting for that to fully drain, decided to get on with doing the air filter. So the actual air filter box is huge, so pull it out of the little grommets and undo that Jubilee clamp at the end. Give it a bit of a tug to sort of unsettle it, but you do need to undo the snorkel at the bottom, which you'll see in a second, and then you'll be able to turn it upside down to access the screws. So there is a total of 4 screws, one there, one there, one there, and one there. So going into this, we were actually quite concerned of the condition of the air filter, but actually it looks basically brand new. I mean, it's obviously dirty, but that's the whole point of an air filter. So we've already bought it, so we're gonna replace it anyway, but that technically, I guess, didn't really need replacing. So when replacing it, just make sure it's seated nicely because obviously we want it to seal and be airtight when we compress it back down using the bolts. So first port of call is reinstalling those 4 bolts. When looking at it, you can see that the Jubilee clamp actually has to be in a certain position, otherwise it won't slot over the throttle body. Once you've slotted it over that, put the snorkel back on and then compress those grommets in all 3 places. And once that's all done, just do up the Jubilee clamp and that is your air filter changed.
So, you know, after our last incident, I got another new sump plug, but to be honest, the one that we had on there was fine. So we're just going to pop this one in anyway, with a new washer. And, yeah. Okay, and quite inconveniently placed, but I suppose not too bad, is your oil filter, which is up here. So I'm going to try and get my hand on it, and if that doesn't work, I do have a oil filter wrench, but hopefully some chimp hasn't absolutely wrenched on it. So from the wheel you can actually see the oil filter, so to be honest, if you take the wheel off, it'd probably be easier, but we are not going to do that because that's way too much effort. Ta-da!
So still to this day, I'm not sure if it's actually needed, but get some of your new oil and just lubricate the seal just in case. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 litres of oil to top this back up, and this is the oil that we went for. So we've got the sump plug back in, time to start topping it up. So at this point I also had dropped the car back down off of the jack stands. So with 3 litres of oil in it, it is halfway up the mark. So what I'm going to do is start up the car to flush the oil around and obviously fill up the oil filter so we know how much to top it up by at the end.
So we're on this for a couple seconds, a couple minutes, and check the level again, top it up, and go from there. Okay, so turn it off, and we're gonna recheck the dipstick back in now. Take that all the way in, all the way back out, and as you can see, it's dropped a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll top it up to near the floor level.
So we ended up using about 3.5, just over that, to top it up, because obviously when you drain it, you don't end up taking 100% of the oil out of the sump. So to conclude, the final and, or I guess only awful task of this job is getting the under tray back on.
And that concludes today's episode, guys. So yeah, it was pretty seamless. It worked out pretty well. I mean, the car's running great, so guess we'll just have to wait a bit. We did reset the service light and it did say 18,000 miles, but I'm not sure we're going to be waiting that long before we service it again. So no doubt you'll be along for that video. If you like that video, please leave a comment down below, like the video, and check out some of our other videos on the channel. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Cheers, guys.